This is a review of the Posca paint marker PC-1M. These are fine tip cartridges with white paint in them. It is a water-soluble paint, but I have to tell you, once it dries, it's waterproof. I purchased these pens for a very special application. I do a lot of range shooting, and I wanted to mark my different magazines with numbers and initials so that people would know that they were mine. You go to the range, everybody's using the same equipment, and it's easy to pick up the wrong equipment and get it in your bag before you know it. When I purchased these pens, there were 3 of them. I've already had to give one to my son because he wants to do the same to all of his magazines. These happen to be Magpul magazines. And as you can see, they look very good, marked. They did a good job. And that's white paint, as I mentioned. If you happen to mess up and do your lettering wrong, you can always take an alcohol swab when this is still partially wet and wipe that off, and it'll come perfectly clean, and you can redo it once it's dry again. But once it dries, it's waterproof. I also want to point out that this pen is so good, it even writes directly on metal. So this is a metal magazine, and it wrote perfectly, and it's permanent. It's not going to come off. These pens are very, very high quality, very easy to use. When you first get these pens, all the instructions are in Japanese. You're not going to get much help there, but it's real simple. Remember, that's paint in there, and there's a little ball in here like you'd have inside of a can of spray paint. And you shake this, and you can hear the ball click back and forth. You're basically stirring the paint. Do that for 20-30 seconds. Get the paint nicely mixed up. And then what you do is you pop this cap off, and you'll see the very fine tip that you can work with to print. This tip looks like it's one solid piece, but in doing my printing, it's really made of very fine fibers that are cut precisely to give that shape. Once you shake it and turn it over, you press down on the tip, and the tip will slightly move in. Don't push it in too far. It'll slightly move in, and that allows the paint to flow from the inside to the outside, and now you're ready to start doing your writing. Here you can see how fine a line that can draw. Very, very precise. And like I said, it's almost like having a white ink pen, but it's really paint. Works very nicely. As an artist, these are great tools to use as an artist. You can also use the side of the pen to draw a broader line. In my case, when I colored into these square boxes here, I actually took the pen like this and did this, and they were small enough that the whole center flowed together and made the square box, and I did those boxes one at a time. So this fine tip is very good for that type of precise work. Very high quality. Excellent craftsmanship. This is well-designed product, well thought out. This is probably the best paint pen I've ever seen, and I wanted to use something good because I want to permanently mark these magazines so that it doesn't come off. And you can see it's very robust and very solid. It takes about 5 minutes for this to dry, and once it dries, it's permanent. This is again the Posca pen, first class quality. I rated it 5 stars. This review is done by JJ CEO.